And despite the rising tensions overseas, President Obama is set to meet with world leaders to talk about the global economy. The G20 summit happening this week in St. Petersburg, Russia. 13 ABC's Washington Bureau Chief Jacqueline Policastro is there. She talked with our local congressional leaders about the potential impact on Northwest Ohio.
We're here in St. Petersburg because this is the first time since the Great Recession that world leaders are dealing with an economy that's stable enough to allow them to engage in talks that might actually lead to reform. The G20 agenda is wide-ranging, but I talked to our local lawmakers about what they say will have the biggest impact on your life. This is a city known for its churches, palaces, monuments, and bridges. But right now, our lens is focused on the world's most powerful leaders, meeting here in St. Petersburg for the G20 summit. And they have their work cut out for them.
If we don't fight for our national interests in these trade agreements, we lose.
Here are the goals for this year's G20. Growth through quality jobs and investment, trust and transparency, and effective regulation. Senator Sherrod Brown says the U.S. must participate in a real way, pushing hard on the issues that impact our workers and our economy.
Countries around the world typically practice trade according to their national interests. We, for far too long, as a country, have practiced trade according to some economics textbook that's 20 years out of print.
G20 nations make up 2/3 of the world's population and 80% of international global trade. But the group of leaders is thought to be small enough to still be an effective decision-making body. And that's important because trade matters in Northwest Ohio.
I have companies in my district that are large exporters, and if they weren't exporting, they're not providing jobs.
Creating jobs around the globe is a focus at the summit and for our local leaders. Senator Rob Portman was a trade representative under George W. Bush, and now he has some advice for President Obama.
The president ought to be tough on him and say, look, we're willing to trade. We think trade's a good thing, but it's got to be in a level playing field, and you have to abide by the rules.
Our lawmakers tell me they think our strength as a nation lies in our workforce and ability to innovate. And they're hopeful that with a better trade policy and aggressive enforcement of international regulations, our economy will change. And it all starts here in St. Petersburg. President Obama will be meeting with world leaders here despite tensions with Russia and amid an escalating situation in Syria. But the White House tells us the president will remain focused on the types of discussions that our local lawmakers say are imperative to keeping our economy on track. Reporting in St. Petersburg, Russia, I'm Jacqueline Policastro.
And stay with 13 ABC for continuing coverage of the G20 summit. We'll have reports about the global issues and the impact right here at home in Northwest Ohio and Southeast Michigan. You can also find the full reports on our website, 13abc.com/G20.